Good morning. Another day in the van, and today we're doing the electrics. Well, when I say the electrics, I'm going to be doing some of the electrics. Obviously I can't do all of them because I haven't got the bed fitted in, but I've just been outside, had a look under the van. It's soaking wet out there. Luckily I had a shower curtain that I could lay on the ground. Well, not a shower curtain, I think that's a dust sheet actually, but I could lay it on the ground over a puddle, so I could actually lie on the ground and have a look underneath. I took the little camera with me, so hopefully you're seeing little images of what's under the van. But I have got this clear space. Now, it's really difficult to judge exactly where the space is, but I use the window as a bit of a guide, so it's given me a rough idea, and I have sort of concluded that I'm going to need to put the heater at this end of the seat box, because this under here has the clearest amount of space. So what I'm going to need to do is go and get the actual heater itself, position it somewhere handy, and then I'm just going to drill a tiny little test hole and see where that comes out, and make sure from that tiny little hole I'm lined up enough in order to get that in the right position so it's not actually hitting anything on the underside of the van. So let's go and get the heater and have a look. Okay, so here we go. This is the heater. I decided to get a new one simply because the old one was really rusted like crazy underneath, and I wasn't too sure about it, and I figured because these things are pretty cheap now, they're like £100 each now, I thought I might as well just go for a new one while I have the opportunity, you know, as I'm going to fit all new. So for this is a Vevor one. This is a 5 kilowatt. Now I did want a 2 kilowatt, but I couldn't find one. So anyway, I went for a 5 kilowatt in the end, and I've also gone for one of these plates this time round. Before I just had a hole in the floor. This time I'm going to do it properly and actually have one of these plates. And I have test fitted it and it fits beautifully. Now the thinking I've got going on here is you can do two things with these heaters. You can either just have the air intake as it is on the back. A lot of people say that it's better if you duct the air intake so that you're taking the slightly heated air from inside the van and then reheating it, and it makes it more efficient. But to be honest, these things are so efficient anyway, I think I would rather save the space by having just the air intake, you know, drawing air from inside the under the seat box here, and that's exactly what happened last time, and they were perfectly fine, very efficient. And to be honest, I only run these things for a few minutes at a time anyway, and then I shut them down. And then I've just got to determine where I can put this. I've got to the center of the window, that's where the first strut is, and also I can't go that far back because there's a luggage strap in the way, so I'm going to have the heater this way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole about there, obviously in the floor, not in the heater, about there. I just leave the drill poking through, then pop underneath and have another look, and then hopefully that will determine exactly where the final hole is going to go. One HSS drill bit, reasonably sharp. Let's give it a go. And we're through. Let's go and have a look. Okay, that's interesting. It's right up there, nearly at the strut there. That's the other thing, I think, is the luggage strap. So I need to come to the window side of that hole. Okay, let's run with it. Okay, so there's my witness hole, and that leaves about that much gap at the back where the air intake is to draw the air in. And I think it's going to be best all round if I take the seat box is actually screwed down to the floor now, but I'm going to have to unscrew it and take the seat box out so I can get around that, because I'm going to be using a jigsaw to cut that out. I think that'll be easiest. I've got I was trying to figure out how I'm going to get a mains powered jigsaw out here, but then I suddenly remembered I've got that powerful battery, so that will run the jigsaw, and then hopefully I can get that hole in the van and job will be a good one. Hopefully. All theory at the moment. Wish me luck. Okay, right, so you've been promoted. You're on a tripod. Okay, so what we have is a 2 kilowatt battery, a jigsaw with a mild steel blade in it, and a circle to be cut. Now before I do anything, I've got to drill a hole big enough to get that jigsaw blade in, and I think what I'm going to use, I discovered these on my last van build, and I'm going to be using a drill bit like this. I don't know what they're called, but they're really good and really efficient at drilling holes in metal or wood or anything. And because the front bit is quite thick, they're pretty sturdy as well. So hopefully I can just drill straight down, get a nice hole to start with, and then we're just going to go for it. Right, good to go. Right, wish me luck. I'm going in. So where the bottom of the rib of the van is just that little bit too far away. It's just where the bottom of the van is ribbed, and where the lower bit is, that cutting bit is really struggling to reach it. That sounds to me like, yeah, broken. Okay, luckily I have some more. I will make this one. It's bent it. I'm going to go one more try, and then I may have to do it with a drill. It's not the ideal way to do it, but at least it will get the job done. Nope, it's not going to work. The oh, I bent that one as well. It's just a question of having the right tools for the right job, and I haven't got the right tools for this job, but I'm 3/4 of the way there. So I'm going to finish the rest off with a drill bit. I'm just going to drill through, and then I can, I can file any rough edges. So I think that's going to be my plan. Right, this is a very Heath Robinson way of getting a big hole in the floor, but I'm just going to have to do it. So, and I don't care what you say. I'm all hot and sweaty now, look at that. Ooh, that was hard going, but there we go. I bet you didn't realise you could use a drill bit as a milling tool. You can't really, but it's got the job done, which is the main thing. I'm just going to grab this and just need to give it a little wiggle. There we go. And that's the hole done. And then I'm just going to go in with a file and just clean that up. I'll just give this a little test fit while I'm here. Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. So I get a load of gunk on there and then get that stuck down, and then jobs are good, and sort of. Right there, so that's the hole done. That's the underbody sealant put around the raw metal, although I'm not too worried about these particular vans rusting. My mate Austin, when he come to help me cut the windows out, he took away the panels that we cut out, and he said like a year later he'd left them outside in the back garden, and you could still see the silver around the edges where, you know, where the raw cut had taken place, and they hadn't rusted. So they've obviously got the alloys figured out these days, so I'm not too worried about, like I say, rust. But I have put underbody seal on it, and I'm going to put on this heat resistant sealant, and this is designed to go around wood burning stoves and things like that, and I'm basically just going to seal it all up so that no moisture can sink into the, or soak into the insulation and everything. So I'm just going to put like a big coating of that around, and then I can install the thing. But let's have a go with this sealant. I'm literally just going to slap a load of it on and then just smear it around a bit. Right, well there we go, that was a thoroughly messy job, but somebody's got to do it. Oh, it got through my glove. Oh, it's come over awfully dark. It's only like midday, and the rain's going to go on for another 40 minutes or so, and then hopefully it'll stop for the rest of the day. I've put the ramp, or the van, up on ramps on one side. I've got my little camping ramps, so there's plenty of room now if I want to lie on the ground and get underneath the van, which I'll have to do later. But I've pretty much got this rigged up and ready to go, so everything's connected. You've got the exhaust, you've got the air intake, and you've got the fuel hose, at which point I've got to find a place to put my fuel tank. I was planning to put it in here, but I'm not quite sure yet, but at some point I will have to put a hole in the floor in order to feed this back up into the tank. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to just seat this into place and wire it in, hopefully today. I've got some special stainless steel cable ties coming tomorrow, which I'm going to use to strap this up underneath the van. Before I used one of these types of clips, and it got very, very rusty very quickly, and it was a slightly dodgy fitting, and I had to kind of drill into the van. But actually with the cable ties, I think I can, with the stainless steel ones, I can strap this up out of the way, hopefully more successfully without having to drill more holes in the van. We'll see, I'll figure that out tomorrow. But for now, I'm just going to feed all this stuff through. Now I'm going to have to wait until probably tomorrow before I test run it, but there's nothing stopping me just seating this in place. I'm not going to seal it yet, just in case I've got to do anything, but I can now wire it up and rig it up and put the ducting in and everything. So I guess it kind of makes sense, if I move it kind of makes sense to just have the ducting going straight through here, if that makes any sense. In fact, what I'll do, I'll wait for the ducting until I've got the battery in, because I don't know quite how big the battery is, so I need to fit the battery in, then work out where I'm going to put everything, and then I'll work on the ducting afterwards, because I might have a little run somewhere where I can put the ducting perhaps so it points back towards the back of the van there. If I can split it off in two different directions perhaps. Let's have a look. This is the box it came with. Right, so I have got a T-splitter there. That's interesting. Does that go straight on, or does that... no, that doesn't. So I'd need that to go onto a piece of ducting. The problem with ducting is it takes up space, so I'm going to have to hold off on my final decision on the ducting until I know what space I'm dealing with down there. So I think the best thing I can do is get the battery in here, and the diesel tank and the other bits and bobs that are going to go under the seat, figure out where they're all going, and then that'll help me to determine where the ducting's going. But when I fit them, I'll try to bear in mind that I'm going to want to put some ducting somewhere. But to be honest, I don't think it really matters that much with the ducting, simply because this is such a small space. It'll heat up in no time anyway. I mean, I could literally just have a single duct vent here, blowing out air out this way, and within minutes the whole van will be so warm I've got to turn it off. So it's not a massive deal, but we'll see. I'll figure it out. Okay, I've got my battery in place, I've got my box of bits and pieces. This is all a lot of the stuff I took out of the other van, which I'm going to reuse. I've got a couple of fitting kits, I've got loads of wire, and I'm just going to spend the rest of the day just slowly chipping away at getting some of this wiring done. The priority is going to be the 12 volts, because obviously I'm going to need that for the winter camp. If I can get the solar panels connected up, I will do so as well. I'm going for the CTEK battery charger this time. I went for this one last time, but this is a different model, basically because I've gone for a lithium ion battery this time round. This is a 200 amp lithium ion battery, and it's amazingly lightweight. I basically had two marine gel batteries that were about the same size last time, and this weighs about half the weight of one of them. so I'm definitely saving on the weight here, but it's also a Bluetooth one, so hopefully I can link to it on my phone and it'll tell me exactly what's going on. But in order to charge that one from the solar panels and to be able to charge the engine battery as well from the solar panels, I've had to change my CTEK unit. This is the only device that I know that does it with vehicles that have a smart alternator. This vehicle has a smart alternator. Now I don't actually know what that means, to be honest. It's all sort of magic and witchcraft as far as I'm concerned, but I've had to go for the this is the CTEK D250 SE. Now I used to have the D250 SA, which I've got buried in here somewhere, but alas, it's no good for lithium. There we go, that's the old one that I used to use, but unfortunately this will not charge lithium ion batteries. But CTEK have since upgraded to this is an actual lithium ion charger, so this will actually work, whereas the other one won't. So it was a bit unfortunate because they're not cheap. I think this was, it was over £200. But like I say, the reason I go for this one is because I've got a smart alternator, which this one understands, but also I want to be able to charge my engine battery as well as the leisure battery, and this one handles it. It's actually got a specific outlet to go to your engine battery, which I think is excellent. But there we go. So anyway, I'm going to find a home for that as well. Anyway, all these ponderings, this is what happens whenever you do a van build, or whenever I do a van build, because I don't work to any specific diagrams or drawings. I just see it in my head and then I make it. A lot of the time it's all the little things that take all the time, pondering, you know, various scenarios and things, and trying to think ahead and plan ahead. I know to some people that's probably not the best way of doing things, but to be honest, it's the way I work best. If I have a strict diagram and plan to work to, I usually end up wanting to change it anyway. So I found over time and experience, it's just easier to, you know, obviously have a basic vision of what you want, and then, you know, cross all your bridges and dot all your I's and cross your T's as you do it. Anyway, it works for me, but might not work for everyone. Anyway, I'm going to have a nice listen to some music, and I'm just going to get stuck into this, and we'll see how far we come along today, and then obviously I'll probably be carrying on tomorrow. Hopefully when those stainless steel cable ties arrive as well, I can get the heater properly sorted out and ideally tested as well. I haven't tested it yet. And then obviously as long as it works, then I can glue it all down and we're good to go. Right, leave me to it and I'll catch you in a bit. Right, it's got so dark in here, the weather's got so bad, and I've got several hours of day left, so I've just jerry-rigged up. I'm hoping this is going to work. I'm just going to jerry-rig to the new battery a patch to the lights, just so that we can actually see what we're doing in here, because like I say, it's just got so dark and the weather's got so bad. Yeah, it's been getting darker and darker in this last sort of quarter of an hour, but it's so dark in here I can barely see what's going on, and I'm literally just jerry-rigging this up as a temporary thing, just so I can see what I'm doing. This around, there we go. Thank goodness we have some light. That's perfect. So that's running the 4 little recessed lights up there. Right, I can get on again. I've been doing quite a lot actually. I've managed to rig up this is the from the solar panels upstairs, up on the roof. Now I actually remember I disconnected them at the roof as well, so these are not live, not that we're going to get much electric anyway with this dull weather, but I've decided I'm going to put the CTEK there, and this is the battery that the wire that comes in from the main engine, so I'm going to rig that up at some point shortly, along with the solar panels and obviously the main battery. And I'm just going to have a little fuse box here. Now before I had 2 fuse boxes. I had a really big comprehensive fuse box
and then a smaller one. And to be honest, I'm just going to have the smaller one. I'm only going to have a few feeds going out into the van, and I've got a little negative buzz bar there, which I managed to find a really good earthing point, which was actually that earth strap, or sorry, the luggage strap that's strapped to the bottom of the van. So that's a really good earthing point, which means it's just really convenient to have all these earths available there on a little bar. Obviously the positives, you tap on a positive there, and you just put your fuse, like little blade fuses go in here, and then obviously that feeds out to your accessories and stuff. So it all looks a bit messy at the moment, but it will hopefully look quite neat when I've finished it. At least that's the intention and the plan now. But I've also strapped the battery in so that it's not going anywhere. All good stuff. Right, let me get on. We've done all we can do for today. It's getting late, it's pitch dark outside, the street lamps are on, and luckily I had an extra couple of hours with managing the lights. So we've got the battery plugged in, temperature gauge is strapped on, we've got everything connected apart from this, well, including this temporary fixing for the lights. I haven't installed any of the internal electrics yet for the for the actual living space, but I have got the CTEK connected up. So we got the main engine battery connected, and that's actually all connected up now, and I've started up the engine and it started charging the battery. We've got the positive coming in from the solar panels on the roof, that's ready to go. We've got another fused positive 30 amp fuse battery connection directly from the battery. We've got everything earth, so we got the battery is grounded and the solar panels grounded as well, and then we've got this little signal wire here, so I've got a positive coming in from the ignition when it goes live, and I've got a permanent plus fixture to let the unit know that this is a lithium ion battery. So we're all good to go, and all I've got to do is go up on the roof tomorrow and connect the solar panels up, because I unplugged them just to be on the safe side. So tomorrow I can install the isolation switch that will switch on and off the accessories inside the van, and hopefully also get the heater fully installed. At the moment it's just kind of resting there. So I have taken the van off of the ramps. I'll put them back up again tomorrow. It's going to be not raining tomorrow, so that's good. So I can actually grovel around under the van and get everything sort of strapped up where it needs to go, and then we can test fire the heater, and that'll be good. Obviously I've got to wire it up here. I haven't wired it up. I've literally it's literally waiting to be wired up as well, but I can't wire it up until I get my fuse box set up and ready to go. So all in all, quite a productive day, although it's taken the whole day to not do a huge amount. I was kind of hoping by now I'd have the lights running on a switch, but that's just not happened. Oh, I have managed to get the Bluetooth on the battery to talk to my phone. So what it's telling me is the battery is 40% charged. I haven't actually had a play with this, but it's got all of the information there, which is pretty cool. So it tells me the battery level 40% charge, maximum capacity 200 amp hours, present capacity 80 amp hours left, present voltage. Anyway, you can read that. I don't need to read that all out. But it's useful to know that there's stuff going on there. And obviously when I start the engine and when I plug in the solar panels, I shall keep an eye on that just to see if there's any change and make sure it's doing everything I'm hoping it'll do. But that's good. So it's like a smart battery, so it talks to you, lets you know what's going on. What I've also done is I've drilled holes, like a nice big round hole that runs through the cabinets, and it just means that I can get the wiring up to the sort of control panel area up there, although I'm not actually going to have any control panels as such. I'm just going to have switches and whatever necessary readouts, but Yeah, and then obviously a lot of those wires are connected to those wires on that side, so that's why I left them in, because I'm just basically feeding up the feeds up to there, and then I can distribute them either through the system here or onto this side, whatever's needed. Oh, I'm exhausted now, so it's all this grovelling around on the floor and everything. So anyway, that's it for this video. So I'm going to head on home now and have a bite to eat and settle down for the evening. But I shall be back out here tomorrow, doing everything again, ready to, like I say, go away. We're going to be going away it's not that long away now for the winter camp, so I don't think I'm going to have time to do the bed in time, so that's fine. I'll just camp out on the floor, but I will get the microwave in and hopefully all of the electrics sorted out. But anyway, more to think about tomorrow, but for tonight I'm going to call it a night. So this will be the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.